Hi there, Phil again. Thank you for joining me again. This is the third of my series of clips that I'm producing on herbs, and also the last one. I'm joined today by Munchkin. As you can see, he's enjoying the early morning sun on his Royal Highness's blanket. So in the first of the clips that I produced on herbs, I talked about a herb garden and the requirements for the herbs. In the second one, I discussed how you can integrate your herbs with the rest of your garden, and that is actually my preferred way of dealing with it, rather than having a dedicated herb garden. So in my garden, for example, I've got herbs growing in my vegetable garden, among tomatoes and other plants, also in my ornamental gardens, even in waste areas. My mint is actually growing in an area which wouldn't be productive for anything else. It's quite shady and damp. And finally, of course, I have got some, such as this rosemary, growing in pots. So I'm going to discuss the different aspects of maintenance that you need to carry out to get ongoing production of your herbs in such a way that it's easy for you to look after. Herbs always are a relatively high maintenance part of the garden. Even if you grow them in a vegetable garden, as I often do, they will be more high maintenance than some of the other plants, because you don't generally grow a whole row of a herb. So if I grow a row of tomatoes or capsicums or brassicas, I can treat them all more or less the same. But when I have a line of herbs in the garden, each one will have to be treated separately. So let's talk about it. First of all, weeding. Your weeding regime does need to be regular and methodical, as some smaller herbs don't compete well with weeds. Be particularly careful to lift trailing foliage to remove all weeds. Adding plenty of organic matter to the soil helps to keep it friable and easy to cultivate. Next, mulch. With perennial herbs such as sage or thyme, a fine mulch about an inch or 25 millimeters is beneficial for reducing the emergence of annual weeds, retaining moisture and improving the soil long term. Peat, compost, straw or fine bark chips are suitable materials. Since most perennial herbs aren't very hungry, as we say, that is nutrient demanding, the nutrients provided from the decomposition may be all the fertilizing that the plants need. Watering. Some herbs such as rosemary or lavender don't mind fairly dry conditions. However, others are intolerant of dryness or may bolt, that is, go to seed prematurely if they're allowed to get too dry. Basil, dill, coriander and parsley all need regular watering. It can pay to grow these together, or in a vegetable garden that gets regular watering anyway, to make this easier. Markers. Some herbs such as tarragon and lemongrass are deciduous, so at risk when you are cultivating the garden during winter. Keeping a label or small stake at the site to prevent this from occurring is useful. Pruning. Some herbs can be over-vigorous or grow stalky over time, which may reduce the productivity of the plant. Strong-growing plants such as fennel and rosemary need to be trimmed back to prevent them from taking over the bed. Others, including lavender, marjoram, thyme and oregano, should be regularly pruned back to encourage fresh young growths. Mint can spread throughout the garden, so be diligent in keeping it in check. For this reason, it can be better to simply contain it within a pot. Deadheading. Dying flower heads can be removed to rejuvenate the plants. This is a useful practice with sage and chives. Seedlings from some herbs such as fennel and dill can be prolific and become a weed if you don't deadhead the plants after flowering. Replacement. Some herbs are annual or short-lived, so need to be replanted periodically. This includes parsley, coriander or cilantro, basil and dill. If the plants are allowed to develop seed heads, they may naturalize. I grow and use a lot of parsley and basil, so I grow my own seedlings. Basil is a warm season plant, while parsley can be grown year-round. Division. Finally, chives, creeping thyme, marjoram and oregano will naturally clump up, or the creeping stems may develop roots. These can be dug up and replanted elsewhere, or used to replace old unthrifty plants. So that's it for my series of clips regarding herbs. I do hope that you grow them satisfactorily in your garden. I've been growing them here very well for 15 years now without any trouble. I use a lot of herbs in our daily cuisine and such like, and I find they're quite a delight to grow. Now don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so, and also to like this clip, and also Let me know if you have some comments regarding your practices regarding herbs. I do find them very interesting, and they do also help my channel to grow. And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching this through to the end.